Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, or welcome if you're new here. For those of you who don't know, my name is Hiva, and here on my channel I cover recent missing person cases. Before we get into today's case, I just wanted to say thank you to all of you who have subscribed to my channel. I'm at around 850 now, and I remember in March I was so excited to reach 50, so thank you so much to all of you who have subscribed. But let's just go ahead and dive into today's case. Today I want to talk about the case of Alice Hodgkinson. Alice is a 28-year-old British woman missing from Kanagawa, Japan. And before we continue, I'm so sorry if I mispronounce anything. As far as I know, according to her missing person flyer, Alice has been missing since July 1st, 2021. However, some sources state that she disappeared earlier than that. So, like I mentioned, Alice is a British woman living in Japan. She moved to Japan in March of 2020 and has been teaching at the Shane English School in Tokyo since her move. So while the Shane school that Alice works at is in Tokyo, she does live in Kanagawa, which is approximately 25 miles away. That's not too bad when you look at how high the cost of living in Tokyo is. And I looked into public transportation, and it turns out there are buses and trains that do go directly from Kanagawa to Tokyo. The public transportation take about 50 minutes to an hour and a half to get you there, depending on what you take. So from what I understand, the school was on vacation when Alice disappeared. I looked more into the Japanese school system, and it turns out that they operate on a 3-term system. So the school year apparently begins in April and ends in March. Unlike the US school system though, the beginning of summer break doesn't indicate the end of the academic year. So just to give you an example, the first trimester might be from April until late June, followed by summer break from late June until early August. The second trimester would then begin following that summer break, as opposed to a new academic year. So like I said, Alice did disappear during a school break, and some of her colleagues have reported that they have been unable to reach her since around June 26th. However, Alice was officially reported as missing when she didn't return to work on July 1st by her employer and her family and friends. Alice returning to work on July 1st doesn't really fit into the school schedule that I just told you about, since most schools would be on summer break and not returning to school. But the Shane School does offer a summer program and summer classes, so I wonder if Alice was working during this or teaching during these classes. Not only did Alice not turn up to work, but her housemates also have stated that they did not see her for the past 2 weeks or so. Her family have said that this is not like her and that she does regularly check in with them. In fact, despite a lot of people around her not being able to contact her or not seeing her for approximately 2 weeks now, her father stated that he did speak to her on June 30th. During their conversation, he thanked her for a Father's Day gift that she sent him, and he said that nothing really seemed out of the ordinary and that everything seemed fine. I think that figuring out where Alice was during this phone call or how this phone call was placed would provide crucial details into what happened or where Alice is. I've seen comments that her phone was left in her room, and if you recall, her housemates said that they haven't seen her for approximately 2 weeks now. It wouldn't be possible for Alice to speak to her father through her phone if her phone was at home and if she hadn't been home for approximately 2 weeks now. It just doesn't make sense. I'm not sure if she called her father using a laptop and maybe using Skype or another platform, which they did use Skype sometimes to communicate, but she couldn't have used her phone to speak to her dad unless she somehow was able to drop the phone back off in her room after June 30th without her housemates noticing, or unless her roommates are giving out false information for some reason. But then why would her roommates give out false information and claim that they haven't seen her in the house for 2 weeks? I wonder if her family and friends have been in touch with these roommates or have heard stories about them from Alice or know anything about them so they can verify what happened, or so they have a better idea of what maybe happened. According to Alice's brother Peter, local law enforcement have visited Alice's home multiple times, and they are working with Nottinghamshire Police. Local police have found some sort of note in Alice's residence, but they won't disclose the contents of the notes or whether it's related to the case. But since it's being brought up, I assume that it is somehow relevant, or that police believe that it might be somehow related to her disappearance. Whatever this note is, I hope that it's not being misinterpreted. I think it's important to keep in mind that Alice moved to Japan in 2020, and during this time the whole world was basically going through a difficult, unusual time. And there's nothing wrong with Alice choosing to go and teach in Japan during this time. While researching this case, I learned that it's not unusual for foreigners or non-citizens to actually get arrested in Japan and for their families and friends to not be notified. And sometimes the police won't release the information even if family and friends call in and ask about the person. In some cases, this will result in the person being reported as missing when they've actually just been arrested and their family and friends don't know. However, I feel like if this were the case with Alice, it would have been cleared up by now, since the police are aware and it has been 4 days. Alice seems like a beautiful, adventure-loving woman who lives her life to the fullest. I went through some of her social media and it seems like she was always off traveling somewhere or doing something, so it seems like this was just her next adventure. I hope that she comes home soon and that her family gets some answers. Alice has blonde hair and blue eyes, and she's approximately 5'6". If you have any information about her whereabouts, the number for you to contact will be down in the description below, and as always, all my sources will also be down in the description below. But that's all we really know about Alice's disappearance so far. This is a very new case. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one.